This is Ted Jones along with Woody Erdman and Dick Lynch, speaking to you from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota, midway between Minneapolis and St. Paul, where we're standing by to bring you the play-by-play action of today's National Football League game between the New York Giants and the Minnesota Vikings. This is an afternoon that could be full of surprises, and right now, while we have an opportunity, we'll check the offensive starting lineup for our two clubs here this afternoon. First for the Minnesota Vikings at left end, Paul Flatley. At left tackle, Grady Alderman. At left guard, Jim Valori. The Viking center will be Mick Tingelhoff. Right guard, Larry Bowie. Right tackle, Bob Brittenstein. The right end, Marlon McKeever. At halfback, Dave Osborne. The running backs, Bill Brown and Red Phillips. And the starting Minnesota quarterback will be Joe Katz. For the New York Giants at left end, Homer Jones. Left tackle will be Young. Left guard, Case. The center will be Larson. The right guard, Des. The right end, Aaron Thomas. The flanker back will be Joe Morrison. The running backs, Tucker Fredrickson and Ernie Coy. And the flanker back, is that correct? Joe Morrison will start this afternoon? Good. And the quarterback is Fran Tarkenton. Dick, you mentioned Fran Tarkenton. Now, there is in the back of a lot of minds the idea that Fran was a former Viking and that maybe he's familiar with the system. We have also on the ball club Bill Swain, who played with the Vikings. This is not necessarily an advantage anymore with the new coaching system that Grant has put in.
Well, that's exactly right. As you said now, Bud Grant is a new coach with a new system, so anything that Fran can tell the Giants is not really going to help them offensively because this is a brand new football club. Defensively, he might point out some people in their secondary or some people in their line, or he might point out who to work against from what he would know. I mean, that's the only advantage that we would have.
Can you run against this ball club, Dick, effectively?
Well, they have a fine football club. Defensively, of course, this Carl Eller, he's an outstanding lineman. He's 6'6" and about 270 pounds, and he's going to be rushing Tarkenton, and he's a real all-pro defensive end. They have Jim Marshall. Of course, Marshall was the one that made that famous picked up a fumble and ran it back the wrong way, and he got a touchdown for the opposing ball club. Paul Dixon is a tackle, defensive tackle. He has 9 years in the National Football League, and they say he's really having a good year. And at the left tackle, a boy that I was familiar with following Notre Dame football, is Alan Page. And Page came into the Viking camp weighing about, say, 250 pounds, and then he added a few pounds. He's now 275 pounds. And at one time they had hopes, since their linebacking troop, that was Kirby, Warwick, and Winston were hurt, they were thinking of putting Alan Page, who's such a fine athlete, at linebacker. But since he put that weight on, they put him right in there at tackle, and they say he's doing a real fine job.
A short pass to Bill Brown over on the far side. It's an 8-yard pickup, makes it 2nd and 2. There's the snap from center, the hand off to Brown. Brown hits the far side of the line, gets to about the 40-yard line, and he's dropped over on the far side of the field by Bob Lurch-Stemmer, number 71. 6 feet 6, 250 pounds. It's a first down for the Vikings, I think. No score in this ball game. The opening minutes of play, 13 minutes and 39 seconds of playing time remaining in the first quarter. Out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, the Vikings. Over the ball at center, Mike Tingelhoff. At the quarterback position, Cappy takes the snap from center, hands it off to Osborne. Osborne gets the near side of the line, picks up yardage, gets past the line of scrimmage, past the 40, up to about the 45-yard line, make it the 46-yard line. He's stopped there by Glenn Condren and Bob Lurch-Stemmer. The right side of the forward wall for the New York Giants. Condren, 6'2", 250 pounds. Lurch-Stemmer, as we told you, 6'6", 250 pounds. 8 minutes and 59 seconds of playing time remaining in the first quarter. Other scores. In the fourth period, Cleveland 34, Pittsburgh 7. Next week, the Giants play the Bears. They're leading in the third period against Detroit 27-13. Out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, the New York Giants. Joe Morrison on the far side, Homer Jones on the near side. There's the snap from center to Tarkenton. Tarkenton, a pass to Homer Jones. He gets to the one-handed catch. Past the 50, down to the 40, down to the 30, down to the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. He is over. Touchdown, Homer Jones. A pass reception from Fran Tarkenton. There's that combination, Dick.
A beautiful catch by Homer. A one-hand grab, what do you call it? And also, it was the first time that the Vikings blitz. They had a safety blitz that time. And Tarkenton must have picked it up right away because he likes to hit Homer on the blitzing situations. He picked it up. Homer made a spectacular grab, real cool, a lot of poise. Picked it off one hand, Schumacher dropped, and he did slip, but there was no catching Homer Jones. We've said that 1,000 times. Another spectacular catch and a touchdown. Homer Jones, once again, on the receiving end.
Good enough for 66 yards, that pass play. Fran Tarkenton to Homer Jones. Pete Gogolak. Well, that's good, but did you notice they had a little difficulty down there, Dick? And in the holding of the ball, Tarkenton had just a little bit of trouble. Did you watch Gogolak change his pace and then hold just a little bit and then Zowie, a low kick and right over?
That's right. It was a delay. He fumbled the ball, and Pete just held up while he coolly placed the ball down. Tarkenton placed the ball down, and he got right to him right away.
And so the score of the New York Giants 7, the Minnesota Vikings nothing. More New York Giants football in just 60 seconds. Metropolitan Stadium, Bloomington, Minnesota. Clinton Jones put the ball on the 7, crosses the midfield stripe, crosses the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5. He is over. That's a touchdown, Minnesota, on a run back of a kickoff from Pete Gogolak. Clinton Jones took the ball on the near side of the field on the 7. And so that is a 93-yard run back by Clinton Jones. He picked up blocking along the near side of the field and literally walked the tightrope and raced down the near sideline all the way for the TD. 93 yards.
They've been waiting for him to do that a long time, Woody. He's got the power and the speed to do it, and it was all power from the 30-yard line on in because Gogolak took a shot at him, he missed. One of the other boys took a shot at him, and he missed. And Henry Carr was the last one down there, but he just, ran into him with his shoulder and kept going into the end zone. A real fine run.
There's the hold, the kick, the extra point. It is good, and so it's all tied up with 8 minutes and 12 seconds of playing time remaining here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. The score, the New York Giants 7 and the Minnesota Vikings 7. More Giants football in just 30 seconds. A piling on penalty against the Minnesota Vikings puts the ball in Vikings territory on the 45. There's the snap to Tarkenton. A long pass to Homer Jones. He catches it. It's a touchdown. A touchdown. Fran Tarkenton faded back. Looked for Homer Jones. Found him. Threw the pass beautifully. Homer took it and was bobbling the ball. Didn't really have hold of it until he was hit and in the end zone. And as he fell for the touchdown.
Well, Woody, that was pure speed again, and Tarkenton must know a little bit about that secondary. He put Homer between Hackbart and McAbee and just let him run, and he just outran him, and he threw a perfect pass. Once again, a fine grab by Homer. He's going to fatten his average up today.
There is the hold by Tarkenton of a Gogolak kick, and it is good. Now, that's Jones' second touchdown reception of the afternoon, 2 for 2, good for 111 yards. This guy has got to be one of the fine ends in the making, Dick.
Oh, he's sensational, Woody, and he's doing a great job. Now, he puts the Giants in real fine position. It's up to their defensive ball club now to take a lot of that starch out of the Minnesota Viking ball club. And if they can do it, I think you'll see Tarkenton and the offense in command of this football game. But if Clint Jones gets the ball and goes again, it's going to be just a great scoring day here up in Minneapolis.
Okay, Dick Lynch, and so it's 14-7. The New York Giants out in front of the Minnesota Vikings. 7 minutes and 54 seconds remain of the first period. Giant quarterback Fran Tarkenton has thrown 18 touchdown passes. That is top in the National Football League. And Homer Jones is the top receiver. He went into this ball game second in scoring in the National Football League, and in just about half of the first quarter, he has scored 2 touchdowns. 14-7, Giants out front. Out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, the New York Giants. Joe Morrison flanks out on the near side. Homer Jones splits on the far side. The running back, Fredrickson and Coy. Tarkenton takes the snap from center. He hands the ball off to Fredrickson. Fredrickson picks up some blocking, but he cannot get past the line of scrimmage. He is met there by a stone wall in the person of Jim Marshall. Tucker Fredrickson hit Jim Marshall, and the irresistible force and the immovable object stopped them at the line of scrimmage, the two of them. No gain, makes it 3rd and 5. Happens. They move into that wide-open offense. Tarkenton being rushed, and he's pulled down behind the line of scrimmage back on the 40. As the Minnesota Vikings have a pass rush on Fran Tarkenton, and he is swamped there by Jim Marshall and by Carl Eller. Homer Jones over on the far side, Joe Morrison on the near side. There is the sound of the gun ending the first half, and after the completion of 2 periods of play, it is the New York Giants 17, the Minnesota Vikings 7.
The score here at halftime, The New York Giants 17, the Minnesota Vikings 7. We'll have more of today's halftime activity in just 60 seconds.
Tarkenton takes the handoff. Fades, passes Aaron Thomas. Thomas on the 35 gets the pass to 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. He steps inside and he takes it over. A touchdown, New York Giants. To Aaron Thomas. There is the hold by Tarkenton, the boot by Gogolak. It's good, and it's 24 for the New York Giants, 7 for the Minnesota Vikings. That's the 19th touchdown pass by Fran Tarkenton thus far in the season. And so the score here at Bloomington, Minnesota, the Giants 24, the Vikings 7. More New York Giants football in just 60 seconds. The Vikings in possession of the football. There's Cap calling the signal from center. He's fading. He's being rushed. He decides to run. He has plenty of room. He's going to take it in. The 5, he's over. Touchdown, Minnesota. Joe Cap faded. All the receivers were covered, but there was a big gap right down the middle. Cap saw it, and as Dick Lynch has told you, with a great deal of poise, saw it, moved the ball in, carried it in for the touchdown. So it's touchdown, Minnesota, and it is now 24-13 as the Vikings will try for the extra point. 44,000 fans here at Bloomington, Minnesota, at Metropolitan Stadium. Just shy of a capacity crowd, 44,960. There's a snap from center. It's a little bit high. It's pulled down, however, and held by Vanderkellen. The extra point is good, and it is now 24 for the New York Giants, 14 for the Minnesota Vikings. Out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage, the New York Giants. Ernie Coy in punt formation. Back deep, Clinton Jones and Bob Grimm. There is a kick that wobbles, and it is taken on the 23. Number 27, Clinton, Bob Grimm, gets away from one tackler, gets away from another, picks up blocking, races down the near sideline, races over to the far side, gets to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, and he is pushed out of bounds on the 1-yard line over on the far side of the field. Bob Grimm, number 27, took the punt, raced along the near sideline, and carried it all the way down to about the 2-yard line. A beautiful, beautiful run back by Bob Grimm.
And an awful great block here right at the 40-yard line, freeing Grimm to enable him to go that distance, Woody. Lonnie Warwick really devastated two of the giant linemen. That was a real fine block. The fine effort there by Grimm. Get free, using his speed, using his blockers real well, moved the ball down to about the 3-yard line or the 2-yard line.
Phillips replaces Bob Grimm at flanker back for Minnesota. The running backs are Osborne and Brown. Cap is calling the singles at center. He gives the ball to Brown. Brown hits the middle of the line, and I believe he scores. A touchdown, Minnesota. A touchdown, Minnesota, Dick.
Right, Woody. They gave the ball to him. Cap just turned around, gave the ball to Brown, and he just put his head down and went for the distance. He's a fine back. Powerful, strong, and like I say, he probably is today the best fullback in the National Football League.
The Minnesota Vikings have scored with 10 minutes and 36 seconds of playing time remaining in this football game. It is now 24 for the Giants, 24 Minnesota. As the gap narrows, there is the hold, there is the kick, and it is good. So it's 24 for New York, 21 for Minnesota. That's the score here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington. More New York Giants football in just 60 seconds. And so it is now 4th and 15. Now they will try for a field goal. Fred Cox is as good as there is in the National Football League, so he will come out and try to tie up this football game.
Well, he couldn't be in better position, Woody. He's on the, it's called, it's a standard shot in professional football. He's in the middle of the field. The goalposts are looking right at him, square in the eye, and all he has to do is kick it through. And if he does, we have a new football game here. It'll be all tied up.
The ball will be held by Vanderkellen on the 36. It is kicked, and it is good, and so it's all tied up. Here at Bloomington, Minnesota, at Metropolitan Stadium, the Vikings have tied it up. A field goal by Fred Cox ties up this football game 24-24 with 6 minutes and 15 seconds of playing time remaining in the contest. Tarkenton will go for Morrison. The ball is given to Tarkenton. Tarkenton, a long pass intended for Morrison. Intercepted. There is a marker on the play. A marker on the play down on the 24-yard line. And a penalty will be called against the Minnesota Vikings, interfering with Joe Morrison. That pass was intended for Joe Morrison, as Dick Lynch predicted, and a pass interference call against the Minnesota Vikings, And the ball will be in the possession of the New York Giants on the Vikings' 23-yard line, very much in field goal position, with 2 minutes and 23 seconds of playing time remaining in the contest. Fran Tarkenton calling the signals for the New York Giants. He takes the snap from center. He hands the ball off. I believe he fumbled the football. He did. That ball has been recovered by the Minnesota Vikings. The New York Giants have fumbled the football, and the Vikings have recovered with 1 minute and 49 seconds of playing time remaining. A rapid turn of events here at Bloomington, Minnesota. And it looked like a sure thing for at least a field goal for the New York Giants. And on the handoff, the ball was bobbled, and the New York Giants have fumbled, and the Minnesota Vikings have recovered.
Don't forget, Woody, though, the Vikings knew it, and they were going after that football. They caused the fumble themselves.
Cap takes the snap from center. He hands the ball off, and it's carried by Bill Brown into the middle of the line. We have 1 minute and 25 seconds of playing time remaining in the contest. 24-24. It's all tied up. The Giants and the Vikings. Only on one previous occasion have the Vikings scored as many as 24 points. Against the St. Louis Cardinals, there's the snap to Cap. A short pass, a screen pass that we expected. Finally completed now from Cap to Osborne. Osborne, on taking it, carries the ball out of bounds on the near side of the field on the Vikings' 23-yard line. Right. So we have 1 minute and 3 seconds, Dick.
Right, Woody. And now for our fans, for our listeners, the Vikings are in a very, very tough position. They have to get the first down because I don't think they're going to go for it with down in this territory. If they go for the fourth down, it's third down now, and say they don't make it, they have to go for the first down. They have to get at least 7 yards. If they don't make it, they're going to have to be forced to punt.
The Minnesota Vikings up out of the huddle, up to the line of scrimmage. Bob Grimm is the flanker back. He's over on the far side. Washington is a split on the near side. There is a screen pass to Osborne. Osborne gets to the 25, to the 30, to the 35-yard line, and he picks up the first down. An all-important first down. Ken Avery made the tackle. And so, Henry Carr on that pass play is injured. He's down on about the 43. It's a first down situation for the Minnesota Vikings. We have 51 seconds of playing time remaining in this contest.
And the Vikings, unbeknownst to them that Henry Carr was hurting on the field, because will be unable to go any further in this football game. They took the timeout before they noticed Henry's injury, so now they have one timeout left, and they have to go about 65 yards for a touchdown, or if they at least try to get in field goal position. And like we've said before many times, this Fred Cox can kick them from anywhere on the field, Woody. He's one of the finest field goal kickers in professional football, and he can reach the distance. If they get around the 50, around the 45, they're certainly going to go for that field goal.
Mike Fitzgerald replaces Henry Carr in the defensive lineup for the New York Giants. Mike Fitzgerald will be the right cornerback for the New York Giants, replacing Henry Carr. And so the Minnesota Vikings, with 51 seconds of playing time remaining, have a first and 10 situation. Joe Kapp is the quarterback for Minnesota. Washington, the split end, moved in. Bob Grimm is the flanker back. He's over on the far side, wide. There's the snap to Joe Kapp. He fades. He's being rushed. There's a short pass completed to Washington. Washington takes it on the 50, carries it to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 15. He's forced out of bounds over on the far side of the field on the 10-yard line. A pass from Joe Kapp to Washington, to Gene Washington, complete, with Washington heading from the near side of the field over to the far side, being forced out of bounds down on the 10-yard line.
It's a play, Woody, that's very similar to what the Giants use. It's a delay pass to the tight end, which in this case would be Aaron Thomas, and he took it over the middle of the field, right in the middle of the field. And that's in any place, if you have a secondary that you're trying to prevent the long pass, that's where they're vulnerable. He hit it wide open, and you got to give him a lot of credit because there was Giants around him, but he put his hands on the football, caught it, and just ran with it. Now they're in great position.
Minnesota has turned this topsy-turvy football game into what could very well be an upset. It is 24-24. We have 30 seconds of playing time remaining in the contest. The Minnesota Vikings on the 10-yard line of the New York Giants. It is now second and goal to go, really. Second and goal to go. There's a pass intended in the end zone, thrown out of bounds. So it stops the clock with 18 seconds of playing time remaining. So we have now a third and goal to go situation, and 18 seconds of playing time remaining. Well, with excitement running rampant here in the broadcast booth, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, just seeming to flutter all over the place here. So if we fade in and out just a little bit, it's the result of a great deal of excitement and tension that has found its way out of the stands into our broadcast booth, Dick.
Right, Woody, I'm sorry, I'm the culprit, but I thought that ball was going to be intercepted.
Minnesota up at the line of scrimmage now. It is 3rd and goal to go. There's the snap from center, the carry by Osborne. Osborne is stopped at about the 6-yard line. We have 13 seconds of playing time remaining. Time out on the field. Time enough to bring in Fred Cox to try for the field goal. And the ball is on the 5-yard line. And so the Minnesota Vikings will now try to win this football game with 13 seconds of playing time remaining. What a situation this has been. The Giants were out front at one time in this contest, 24-7. And the Vikings have come back tremendously in the second half. They scored a touchdown in the third quarter, 10 points in the final period. It's all tied up 24-24. The Vikings in possession of the football with a ball now on the Giants' 5.
Well, Woody, it's not a give. I'll tell you this. We've been complaining about the snapback from center. If it's as soft as it's been, the Giants have a great chance of blocking this.
Over the ball at center is Mike Tingleoff. There's the snap from center, the hold, the boot, and it is good. And so, the Minnesota Vikings now lead the New York Giants 27-24. Only 10 seconds of playing time remaining in this contest. What a comeback. 20 points in the second half has made it possible for the Vikings to come back in this football game and bring themselves to a point whereby it's just possible now that they have themselves an upset. Only 10 seconds of playing time remaining.
Well, you called it, Woody. It was an exciting change of events here for the Minnesota fans. The Giants have now but 10 seconds to get themselves on the scoreboard in any way. And one boy who can do it is Clarence Childs. If he gets away, now I anticipated that we were going to block the field goal, which we didn't do. It was an easy shot. They did get the ball up true and clear. There was no doubt about the kick. They just might kick a short one to keep the ball away from Clarence. But if he gets his hands on the football, believe me, Giant fans have seen him go all the way with it. And that's the last hope, the last flick of the flame for the New York Giants.
The ball is on the 40. Fred Cox makes his approach. There is the boot. It's a short kick that bounds and goes out of bounds over on the far side of the field on the 24-yard line. It was a short kick. They tried to keep it away from Clarence Childs. Childs is on the near side. They booted the ball over to the far side of the field to a position where Mike Fitzgerald would have it rather than Clarence Childs. It went out of bounds, and so now they will kick over from their own 35.
Right, Woody, and for our fans and our listeners, there's still 10 seconds on the clock. The ball is not put in play until a Giant touches the football. So that ball hit inside the 20-yard line, but rolled out of bounds before a Giant touched the football. So there's no time on the clock, no change. Now they're kicking from the 35-yard line. They'll have to get a real good kick now, no doubt about that. And still 10 seconds to go. If Clarence gets his hand on the ball, that'll be about the ball game.
There's the boot, and it's a long one. And it is taken by Fitzgerald on the 5. He gets away from one tackler, gets to the 20, gets to the 30, gets to the 35, and he is brought down on about the 38-yard line as there is now just 2 seconds remaining on the clock. Time only for one play.
And I won't be a prognosticator and say that they're going to throw the ball to Homer Jones, but I think there's going to be 11 players covering Homer Jones on this next play. But a boy to look out for in the same particular situation is Aaron Thomas. He has the ability to get deep. They have to keep their eyes on two men, Aaron Thomas and Homer Jones. 2 seconds left in this football game, and the Giants have to go for the touchdown, Woody. They cannot go for the field goal.
The day of the upset, New Orleans defeated Philadelphia this afternoon 31-24. And now the Minnesota Vikings are out front 27-24. As they move out of the huddle up to the line of scrimmage, a wide open offense. Homer Jones, Joe Morrison, a wide open defense. Fran Tarkenton looking for a receiver. He's going to throw long. The ball is knocked down, and that is the end of the football game. It was blocked by number 88, Alan Page. Alan Page, after he blocks the football, goes over to Fran Tarkenton, puts his arm around him. In on the play also Carl Eller. And they put their arm around Fran Tarkenton. Tarkenton goes over and congratulates the Minnesota Vikings. And a tremendous job they did here this afternoon. Welcome him they did. Take home a victory, Fran Tarkenton will not. As you know, he played for 6 years with these same Vikings
and the Vikings gave him a tough time of it this afternoon. An upset. The Minnesota Vikings beat the New York Giants 27-24.